obviously we experienced first time going through a game getting canceled yesterday against Baylor. I think obviously it would have been naive to think you could go through the whole season and not deal with any type of disruption. These are just the times that we're in right now. Our guys have done a really good job preparing, and we're really excited about the game. But under the theme of control what you can control, it's our job to move on to what's next and start preparing for our next opponent, Sam Houston State. Assume that Baylor game is going to get rescheduled at some point. Again, that's outside of our control. That's occurs at the Big 12 level. And all we can do is, do our best to stay safe, continue to practice and improve, focus on the growth of our players, the growth of our team, and the next time we do get an opportunity to play, put our best foot forward.
Thank you all. Reminder to use the raise hand function. Roger Wallace, go ahead, please.
Hey, Shaka, as you said, not a shock that it's happened, but I mean, you're seeing teams getting to arenas and finding out just mentally how difficult is it? How bummed were your guys, even though you had a day's notice? That seems like a lot of notice now, but 4 months ago, we said, wow, that's got to be tough to take.
Yeah, I mean, our guys were really excited about the game. Obviously, Baylor's got a terrific team, and they're ranked in the top 2 in the country, picked to win our league, all those things. So, I mean, our guys are human beings. They, you want them to get up and excited for every game, but there's certainly certain matchups that, as a competitor, you certainly relish the opportunity to be part of. But I think, because of the conversations that we've had over the last several months, they understand and understood, when we told them that, this is part of the reality of this season. And, it's interesting. Everybody, treats these cancellations as such a negative. And it is negative from the standpoint of not being able to play. But overall, this is what the system is designed to do, is to try to keep teams from spreading COVID to other teams. So from that standpoint, the cancellation is a good thing in terms of health and safety. And I think it's important for us to not lose sight of that.
And also, that's one of the reasons you're starting conference so early, right? To build in some leeway to make up these games.
That was a thought process of the conference. And, you try to do your best to make plans to get ahead. But, there's going to be some games that get canceled, and then you have to adjust from there.
Brian Davis, go ahead, please, sir.
Hey, Shaka, now that a game has been postponed and this whole idea of having only 6 players healthy is real, I mean, what do you think of that in general? I mean, did Texas vote for that when it came up with the league, with the league policy?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how the vote went, because it was done. It wasn't done at the level of the coaches. What do I think of it? I mean, I think clearly there's not going to be any ideal solutions in these situations. You in a typical year, you go for absolute competitive equality. This is a year where, and it's not just our sport. I mean, it's across sports. It's going to be impossible to create an equal situation with this dynamic that we're in. So would it be hard to win a game with 6 healthy players? Absolutely. If the other team's got all their guys, but we don't really have as coaches and athletes, we kind of have to follow the protocol laid out and just do our best.
And one other testing question. I mean, do you expect guys to get tested on the day of games, or do you think that if you make it to game day, you should be in?
May I leave that to the doctors, of course. Our current protocol is that we get tested 3 days a week. As you know, the challenge is, you could be tested today and you could test negative, but it's still possible that, you could have the virus tomorrow. So the testing is certainly not ideal in terms of, catching everything. But I think our administrators have put a lot of time and energy and effort into figuring out what makes the most sense. Going back to the summer, Dr. Bray and Alan Harden deserve a lot of credit for just the amount of time they put into just trying to work through how to put us in the best position. When we were in Asheville, we tested every day there. It's still not 100% protection, but I know that kind of felt really safe, because like literally you're getting up in the morning and you're getting this test, and then you play the game. It felt that way, but there's certain challenges with that as well. I know different leagues are doing different things.
Dustin McComas, go ahead, please.
Shaka, maybe one of the positives out of a cancellation is that these guys get to catch their breath a little bit. You guys have played a lot of games in a lot of days. What did that time allow you guys to work on? Was there maybe a thing or two that you wouldn't have been able to spend some time on because you were doing game prep and actually playing a game that you guys are able to focus on?
Just ourselves, working on ourselves. And, our guys have done a good job of understanding that every game we play is an us game. Sometimes in the past, we've gotten so caught up in the opponents, and for good reason. I mean, you're playing really good teams like a Baylor. There's a lot to focus on that they do, and they do well to try to counteract. But, all the areas where we need to improve and get better on offense and on defense individually as a team, those are going to be there. Certainly this early in the year, whether you put a ton of focus on the other team or not. So I think, a game gets canceled, and it gives you the chance to get back to, okay, where do we need to be great? Where do we need to improve?
And along those lines, kind of, I know it's something that you take a lot of pride in, your coaching staff takes a lot of pride in, is the total well-being of your players, not just what's going on the court, what's going on in their lives, the classroom, all that sort of thing. What kind of challenges has this year presented from like a mental health aspect? And how much do you spend time on that, just checking with your guys to see, hey, what kind of headspace are you in with everything that's going on? Because I'm sure the holidays are thinking of family and all that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the question that you just asked it's either, 1 or 1A in terms of the most important questions that we can ask. I think that, along with the physical health. And, the answer to your question is we just try to stay as up to date as we can, have conversations with guys. I literally just, before I came down here, I just got out of a conversation with one of our players. And I just was checking in with him to see, like, how are you doing? What do you think? How do you feel? What was your immediate reaction? And, I think just listening, just trying to listen to what they say. This is unprecedented times. And I can't imagine being a young person, during this time, because that's a time when you're young, you're already in limbo in terms of trying to figure out who you are and your future and all those sorts of things. And now that's been magnified times 10. But it's the reality that we find ourselves in. I think our guys are doing a good job, but at the same time, we have to make sure we're supporting them and checking on them. And just because today, a guy's in a pretty good place, that doesn't guarantee that tomorrow he is. So we just got to keep, supporting them the best we can.
Bob Ballou, go ahead, please.
Shaka, you guys are ranked 11th in the new AP poll. I'm curious how much easier it is to not worry about that stuff when you have a senior leadership that you have, the guys that really have been through this and understand it's just December. It doesn't mean a whole lot, but at the same time, it's obviously great that you're ranked that high. How much easier is it to deal with that when you've got seniors and leaders like that?
Well, I think, what older guys do is they give you, more of a poise in any situation. You can fill in the blank. So as it relates to being ranked, I mean, we all know early in the year, that doesn't mean a whole lot. Our players know that, and it's something that we talk about. We just want to get better. The most important thing is improving, and it's not a given. It doesn't just happen. You have to make it happen. And I think there's twists and turns in any season, but particularly in this year with all the things going on, there's even more twists and turns and stuff that's outside of your control. So as I've said many times, the value of experience is when you're willing to use it, when you're willing to utilize it, take something that you've been through that was either positive or negative and take that lesson and apply it when you're in a similar situation. So, our guys know that we can get a lot better. And also, I think anyone in basketball knows that the rankings right now, I mean, people have played so few games against other, top teams that, there's so much of that stuff still to be determined.
And then just on that kind of same note, there are 5 Big 12 teams in the top 14, and Oklahoma State's obviously off to a really good start as well. How much fun is that? Like how as a coach and as preparing and getting your guys ready and knowing every game's going to be like this. How much fun is that for you guys?
Well, it's the type of games that our guys want to play in, and it's the type of just climate as a competitor that you want to be a part of. In a normal year, then now you're saying, okay, we're going to be playing, 10, 12 games against, some of the top teams in the country in league play. Obviously we learned with yesterday's cancellation, just an example of we're not necessarily guaranteed those games this year. Do our best to play them if we can safely. But just I think the respect level that we have for the other teams in our league is certainly important. But at the same time, our guys having a healthy respect level for how good we can be and how good they can be, and not losing sight of that is important.
Chip Brown, go ahead, please.
Shaka, how has your guard decision making improved the most, and also a comment maybe on the effectiveness of that high screen and roll action that you're using with Greg and your other big men?
Still evolving, Chip. I think our guards have made a lot of progress with decision making. They've improved, but at the same time, you still want more. There's still plays that you'd love to have back. Matt's been here a long time. And I think he'll be the first to tell you he can keep making strides and progress there. Courtney is probably of the guards the most of a risk taker in terms of like throwing the ball up to guys for lobs, and so you certainly we like that because in practice he's by far led us in assists. He's really passed the ball well, but at the same time there's going to be a mistake or two that you have to live with. So those guys are evolving. They're working their way into form. We really need them, all of our guards, to have a high assist to turnover ratio for our team. And we're not where we want to be yet with that. In terms of, screen and roll and some of the actions that we put Greg and Kai and some of our other guys in. We're making progress with it. I think we've had some games where we've been better than others. When the ball stops and sticks and guys hold it, we're not as good. When there's good ball movement, when the guys get to the next play after the first action, then we're much more difficult to guard. And then there's been games or stretches of games where we've gotten some really good shots that we haven't made. I think Andrew Jones is a guy that certainly will shoot the ball better than he has up to this point. We're very confident in that. He's working and he's, doing a really good job getting himself in that place. So that obviously adds to the effectiveness of things you're doing when you run a good action and guys execute it and you get an open shot and it actually goes in.
Mark Rosner, go ahead.
Mark, you're on mute.
Mark, you're still on mute.
I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, I thought you had. I'm sorry. Shaka, you guys obviously have an exceptional defensive efficiency rating, but with Baylor coming up and maybe after the Carolina game, did you emphasize that the possession's not over until you get the rebound? Did you work on that kind of thing?
Yes, for sure. It's been a big emphasis the whole offseason. I thought defensively we had a really good team last year, but we did not have a good defensive rebounding team. And so if, we improve on defensive rebounding just, with last year's team from where we were, we could have been a markedly better defensive team. And also when you get the defensive rebound, it helps you lead to more transition offense. So, we've made progress, but we still have a ways to go with that. And we work on it a lot in practice. Our guys beat each other up pretty good in practice on the glass, but it's about when you do play against a Baylor or against an exceptional rebounding team, it's about really, really carrying it over. And so we've had some opportunities to do that through 6 games, and we need to keep getting better at it.
Thank you.
Joe Cook, go ahead, please.
You talked about keeping your guys focused, playing the number 2 team in the country, now being ranked number 13, tough slate coming up. How do you keep yourself focused? Because, this is the highest your team's ever been ranked in your career. So how do you take that message that you try to give to the guys and then apply it to yourself and your staff?
That's a good question. We've played 6 games. We're 5-1. Disappointed about the one we lost. Excited about the progress that we can make. To be honest, I don't even look at the rankings. I guess somebody said we're ranked 11. I don't really care about that stuff. I try to make sure I'm aware of what our guys are seeing and make sure that they're getting the right things. As it relates to me, it's pretty simple. And the rest of the coaching staff is, every day our focus is on helping these guys grow, helping them be in a good place, which is not a given, making sure they're in a good place mentally, emotionally, trying to make sure they feel supported, and then just figure out what's best for the team. What does the team need today in practice? What do they need to hear before practice, after practice? What do they need to see on video? So that will always be the case, whether we're ranked, whatever, 11, 13, whatever it is, that's where our focus is going to be. And obviously the way our sport works, you're working towards trying to compete to be, at or near the top of your conference. And then the ultimate thing you're working towards is put yourself in the best position, for the postseason to advance and play well when it matters most. And, we're all hopeful and keeping our fingers crossed that there will even be an opportunity for that to happen.
Dustin McComas, your last one up again.
Shaka, Brock back at practice. Would he have been available for the Baylor game? And any update on Jace's progress coming back from that knee injury?
Yeah, Brock practiced on Saturday, and so he would have been available on Sunday. In terms of Jace, he has been able to do some things in practice in the half court, like a controlled drill, but that's actually live. Has not been cleared to do up and down 5-on-5 full court yet, but he really feels like he's making progress. I was texting with him this morning, and he said my knee feels better every day. So, a new trainer, Warren, has done a heck of a job with, just jumping right into that treatment protocol and helping build some strength in his leg. I don't have a date when exactly he'll be cleared to play, but a lot of it is kind of on his tolerance of how he's feeling, and he is very, very positive the things he's saying.